All right, so number 25, we're still dividing. And again, forgive me, I forgot to put the directions here for this question. But you'll notice that this is different than the division we did with number 24, because instead of having a single term in the denominator, we now have two terms in the denominator. So we can't do what we did with number 24. With number 25, we're going to have to either perform long division or synthetic division. And I think for number 25, synthetic division will be easier than long division. And just remember that you can only do synthetic division when the coefficient of the x here in the denominator is 1. So there can't be any number in front of your x when you're going to use synthetic division. If there is a number in front of your x when you are going to divide here, and there's multiple terms, like a 2, if that were a 2x plus 3, or a 3x plus 3, so on and so forth, you have to use long division. But because there's a 1 here, we can use synthetic division. And you'll recall that with synthetic division, whatever the sign of the constant here is, we're going to take the opposite of. So in this case, because we are a plus 3, when we perform synthetic division, we're going to use a minus 3. And then we're going to create our little house. And now we're going to take the coefficients of each of our terms in the numerator. And we want to make sure that before we do that, that we are in descending order. So we go from 3 to 2 to 1 to none. If you are missing a term, let's say that we were missing the square term and we went from 3 to 1 to none, we would have to fill in the x squared place with a 0, so a plus 0x squared minus 14x minus 12, so on. All right, so when you were making sure that you go from the highest power down to the lowest without skipping any, if you are missing a term, you have to fill it in with a 0x, whatever that power was supposed to be. Here, fortunately, we're not missing any, so we don't have to worry. So again, let's take the coefficients of our terms in the numerator. So 6, and then 5, negative 14, negative 12. And then we're going to skip a line and draw a straight horizontal line. And for synthetic division, we always bring this first number down no matter what it is. And now we're going to perform some multiplication. So negative 3 times 6 is going to give us negative 18. And 5 minus 18 is going to give us negative 13. And negative 3 times negative 13 gives us positive 39. And negative 14 plus 39 gives us a positive 25. And negative 3 times 25 gives us a negative 75. And negative 12 minus 75 gives us a negative 87. And now we're complete. So this is our answer row here, but we're not quite finished because we have to fill in our x terms. And to do that, we have to go back to the original numerator and see what was the highest power on our x. And you can see that the highest power that we started with was a 3, a cube. So when we go to fill in our answer, we have to drop 1 power. So we're going to go from 3 to now x to the 2. And then from here, we're just going to count down. So we go from x squared to just x, and then plus, and now we have no x's, right? Because we go from 2 to 1 to none. And now this is our remainder. If you get some number here, your very last number with synthetic division in your answer row, if this is something other than 0, this is your remainder. And so, because this is our remainder, we always write the remainder over the original numerator. So x plus 3. And so now we have our answer. So our final answer is 6x squared minus 13x plus 25 minus 87 over x plus 3. All right, just be aware that this is another question on your practice final where the answer key is incorrect. I'm not sure what the original was. I have an updated answer key, but the original practice exam that some of you received will not have this as your answer, but this is the correct answer. So just make a note of it. All right, so again, let me go ahead and explain what it is that we did here, because I know sometimes this can be confusing. All right, so once you have your answer row here, you want to go back to the original numerator and say, okay, what was the highest power? Again, the highest power in the original numerator was a cube. So we want to drop one power, so we're going to go from 3 to 2 and start filling in our answer row. So the first number here in our answer row is going to be an x, and now what is 3 dropping 1? Well, that's a squared. And now we have minus 13. And what's 1 down from 2? Well, that's going to be x. And then plus 25. 25 doesn't get an x because what's 1 down from 1? Well, 0. So we go from 2 to 1 to none. And then again, our remainder is always the very last number in the answer row. If you end up with something other than 0 as your remainder, you have to write the remainder over the original denominator. All right, so if these are still giving you some trouble, go ahead and go back to this section in your textbook, or go ahead and pull out the practice exam or the actual test from this section. And go ahead and do a couple practice problems or come into the PASS lab, LL237, and we can work on these. But otherwise, hopefully this made some sense, and you will probably see, I'm sure, one of these on your test. So you do want to make sure that you're comfortable with them. At any rate, number 25, 6x squared minus 13x plus 25 minus 87 over x plus 3. And again, this is the correct answer. Don't follow the answer key that some of you might have. This is what you want to go ahead and scratch that out if you don't have this and write this in.